Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is November 17th, 2017, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the economic events of the day, just a few events coming up later today, starting out at 11:30 South African time. ECB President Draghi will be speaking once again. This is several speeches that he's given this week, and I'm not sure how much is going to make that much of a difference, but let's see after the dust settles how this is going to actually play out. Looking at 4:30 South African time, monthly CPI number coming out of Canada. That is an important number, inflationary number. We'll take a look at the Canadian dollar as well. And then lastly, USD building permits, big industry in the United States, home builders, etc. That's really an important number also, and what's been fueling the economy partially in the United States. Okay, so we'll take a look at that as well. But let's start out with the Euro USD. So we're looking here at the Euro USD, and we've got a beautiful reversed head and shoulders formation right here. And this is your one shoulder right here. This is your second shoulder. Okay, and this is your head. And that was really a beautiful reverse head and shoulders that you can see. Now, it's a bullish formation. I'd like to see this carry out, but just keep in mind, okay, that we've had a really choppy, couple of weeks of trading. I mean, we've gone from 1850-ish level down to 1559-ish level. Okay, that's almost a 300 pip move within 3 weeks, and been trading within that range, quite aggressively. So it's really been a very choppy, a very aggressive, month so far for the Euro USD. At this stage, I mean, like I mentioned before, it's a bullish formation, so it may continue going up here, okay, but just keep an eye on the downside if it does, because it's been very choppy. Now, looking at the GBP USD, finally playing catch up here, right? Remember yesterday, in the past couple of days, we've been stating that it's just been not trading, okay, and finally it broke out above 132 and trading at 132.29-ish level, and that's a major move for the GBP USD at the top of its range. Now, if it doesn't break above it, okay, and doesn't hold this line, then it could certainly correct itself and go back to the 130-ish level. So keep an eye on that. Looking at the USD ZAR, nice correction for the ZAR. ZAR getting a little bit stronger here versus the USD. Retracing over 50 to 60 pips here, as you can see, coming down from 1457 to 1418. Now, looking at this formation, there was a little bit of a neckline right here, I guess you could call it, as we've made this level right here, and we're consolidating. So I'd like to see, again, I'd like to also see if this is forming a head and shoulders, a general head and shoulders. As you can see, there's one shoulder, there's your head, and this would be the anticipated shoulder, 1422. So keep an eye on that as well. Aussie USD falling out of bed. I mean, this thing has really just been weak, very weak, and continuously weak. We consolidated earlier in the month, and then we just broke below it and then never looked back. We're trading at 75.60 here, a big retracement from our 78-ish level. So that's something to ponder here to see how further down it can continue going. Okay, if it's breaking down this far, who's to say that it can't go down to 75.42-ish level and even further? So keep an eye on that as well as this unfolds. Looking at gold, been a very choppy week as well for gold, trading at 1282. Jumping from 1272-ish level earlier in the week, okay, trading in a $10 range. And like I mentioned, when you're trading this smaller trading zones, right, these trading ranges, you're bound to, just take the right side of it and make some good money out of it. So that's really an important factor. Looking at oil, after some inventory numbers came out yesterday, we see that there's a little bit of a retracement down here, 55.35, but holding the line of $55. That's an important element. Let's see if we continue to hold that. If we don't, we may see a correction down to 53-ish level. So that's something to look at. Looking at the USD CAD, we've been kind of quiet ever since we've settled here at 127, and not much to say about it. We're between the two averages, okay? Nothing to really write home about. I mean, if the CPI number comes out, relatively negative, then we could see ourselves going back to this 129-ish level and challenging it, okay? But we may see, this may be a bull flag on the daily, okay? Continue getting stronger against the dollar. Looking at the Dow Jones, big day yesterday, over 150 points yesterday, trying to make ground back, okay, from our big sell-off earlier in the week. Now we're trading at 23,413, okay, which is, only about 120 points off of our all-time highs. Okay, so that's not bad in just one day to just, find yourself. It's a really great intraday trading opportunity when you're trading the Dow Jones like this, because it gaps up and continues shrugging along, and that means yesterday it wasn't just, you can't see it on this graph, but on this graph maybe you could see it a little bit better, but at the open we bounced. Okay, we bounced sharply, and then we just we basically just continued going up higher. Okay, which means that there's massive volume. Okay, if we look at the crosshairs here, let's try and bring it up. You can see that there's massive amount of trading here, okay, on the upside, okay, which is really important to take note. That means that there's volume. That means there are real players in the market and they are buying. Okay, so if they're believing that it's at 23,400 a good buy, then that means that they're anticipated to go at least 500 points on the upside. So like I said that before, this thing is still very strong and you got to respect it. Looking at the DAX, made a little bit of headway yesterday. We closed above the 113-ish level. Okay, that's again a very important level. I'd like to see some sort of ground, catching up here to the Dow Jones. That's really an important element to see if that really carries into the end of the weekend. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day and a beautiful weekend. Thank you.